I was listening to a message this morning, and I was saddened when the preacher mentioned about how people, the Jewish people, they spent years waiting for the Messiah. They studied the scriptures so that when he showed up, they would be able to recognize him. Now, many people did, and it did cause or start a movement. But there are so many people who didn't recognize the Messiah. In fact, they're still waiting for the Messiah. Why? Because Jesus showed up, and despite all the many signs, the infallible truths, they missed their hour of visitation. So we're going to spend some time speaking about you and you not missing your hour of visitation. Stay tuned for more. This is Social Aloe Ministries, where we set the captives free in the name of Jesus. Proverbs 20:21 lets us know, an inheritance claimed too soon will not be blessed in the end. So even if God has something for you, if it shows up too soon, it can end up becoming a curse. More work than it should have been if you had simply waited a little bit longer. However, you do not want the Lord to present a blessing to you, and you end up missing it for various reasons. For example, some people missed Jesus as Messiah because they thought he was going to come as a conquering king. Basically, sword drawn, overthrowing the Romans or whosoever else was trying to oppress the Jewish people. But he came meek and lowly. In Matthew 2, when the wise men showed up, Herod asked the religious leaders to search the scriptures. And they were to start finding evidence that there's a star that showed up, unlike any other. These men from a strange country, speaking about basically fulfillment of a prophecy. So things start adding up that the Messiah had been born. But many people still missed it. Look at how Jesus, when he went to the well in Samaria, he met the Samaritan woman. The woman discerned that he was a prophet, and he told her that he was actually Messiah. She went to her village. Her villagers had an experience with Jesus. They believed. But the same Jesus, when he went to his hometown, they missed their hour of visitation. They saw the wonderful things that he had done. They're like, who taught this man this stuff? Where did he get this wisdom? But then they said, is this not the carpenter's son? Is not his mother Mary and his brother like James, Judas and all this stuff? So they missed their hour of visitation. As a result, the Lord could do very few miracles in their own hometown. Zacchaeus, he was a diminutive man, so he climbed a tree to get a better point of view of Jesus. But the Lord saw him and told him to come down from the tree. See, Zacchaeus' hour of visitation had come. He didn't know he was putting himself in a position for the Lord to see him. But the Lord told him to come down and that he was going to go to his house to eat. Zacchaeus did not miss his hour of visitation. But the hour of visitation isn't always the Lord calling you out. Sometimes he just puts you within what I call striking distance of your golden opportunity. When Luke tells about Zacchaeus, there's another story that actually happens before that. There's a blind man, and can you imagine him? They're blind, begging for alms. And then he heard the name Jesus. And it's like, Jesus. Jesus. And Jesus was walking by, and the man started calling out, Jesus! Jesus! And they were telling him to be quiet. And basically, that man was not going to miss his hour of visitation. So unlike when Jesus went by the pool of Bethesda and saw the man who had been lame for 38 years, this was a blind man who couldn't see. And he heard something about Jesus coming. He heard the bustling. And he would not let the hour of visitation. And even though he was blind, basically he had the vision, he had the sight to see that his hour of visitation was here. And he wasn't going to miss it. And people came against him, but he tenaciously pursued the Lord. And the Lord opened his eyes so he could see. The Lord opened his eyes so he could see. So do not be blinded, for example, by a person's diminutive stature. Do not be blinded because it's someone you had seen before and you didn't know your opportunity had been under your nose this entire time. Do not be blinded because people are trying to discourage you from doing what you know in your heart the Lord wants you to do. Do not miss your hour of visitation. Do not be like the Israelites, where the Lord told them to go into the promised land to possess it. And they started looking at the giants, the sons of Anak, and saying, oh, we're like grasshoppers in their sight. And as a result, they end up missing their blessing by 40 years. Most of the people who were 40 years and older never went into the promised land because they started fearing the obstacles ahead of them as opposed to knowing that their time had come. 2 times the Lord told him in Deuteronomy 1 and 2 that you have dwelt here long enough. It is time to move forward. Do not get stuck in the past that because maybe the Lord had you in a season that you're going to be there forever. Do not miss your hour of visitation. And yes, you have to be careful that something doesn't come too soon, and you have to recognize you may know the Lord has an opportunity for you, but then if you get close to it, you start realizing, well, maybe I'm not ready for it. It's not ready for me. It is not the time. But you have to appropriately discern, because sometimes people's fears cause them to say, well, I'm not ready, or it is not ready, when the time is right. The Lord put it in front of you for you to seize the opportunity, but you missed it. Oh Lord. Think about Jacob. He had worked 7 long years for the opportunity to marry Rachel. 7 long years. After 7 years, it was time for Rachel to get married. I don't know what Rachel was doing, but Leah, when her father suggested that she told her about getting married to Jacob instead, she jumped at an opportunity, which makes me wonder, where was Rachel? How did Rachel, she had to have known that after 7 years, she was going to marry Jacob. She had to have known. So why wasn't she counting just like how Jacob was counting, where he went to Laban and said, hey, I've done my 7 years. I'm ready for my bride. Why wasn't she in the same position? Because that little opening allowed Leah to come in and take her promise. So yes, an inheritance claimed too soon will not be blessed in the hand. But when your time comes, do not miss your hour of visitation. Do not miss your hour of visitation. Sometimes you can even be distracted by doing the work of the Lord. In Genesis 24, Abraham sent his servant for a wife for Isaac. Isaac, when the servant was bringing the wife to Isaac, he was out meditating, but then he came in. See, sometimes you can be caught with doing the things of the Lord, and he's telling you it is time to go to another place to receive your blessing. Do not miss your hour of visitation. And even though I speak about earthly things, it also applies to heavenly things. Do not miss your hour of visitation. One of the things it speaks about the sons of Issachar was that they knew the seasons, the signs of the times, and they told the nation of Israel what they ought to do. So I pray that you have the wisdom to recognize the seasons, not only in your life, but the life of those around you, so that you can be an advisor, and even an advisor to kings, to let them know what season it is, that they've dwelt in a place long enough, that it is time to move forward. Season of visitation. Ruth, she had been working in Boaz's field, not knowing the field that she's been working in was actually her own. But Naomi told her to go lay at Boaz's feet. Of course, in privacy, all this stuff gave her instructions. Ruth did not miss her hour of visitation, but in that case, she had to go visit Boaz. Do not stay still when the Lord wants you to move. Do not move when he wants you to be still. You have to know this season. It requires a relationship with the Lord. And there are times in the Bible, people, they didn't have a relationship with the Lord, but when the Lord spoke, they knew. Likewise, when the Lord speaks, you should also know. You may have heard the saying that what the Lord has for you is for you. Oh, that is true. But there is a time and a season for everything. And yes, the Lord can bring something back around, but you don't want to take the long route. Believe me, you don't want to take the long route. The Israelites could have been in the promised land 40 years prior. They end up taking the long route. You don't want to take the long route. It is painful. So yes, what the Lord has for you is for you. But when the time comes, do not miss it. If you're at a bus station or a train station, if you miss the bus, if you miss the train, if you wait long enough, another one will come along and you will get to your destination. But there's something about timing, because what if the bus that you missed or the train that you missed had someone that you needed to minister to along the way? What if something was going to happen where you were or where you are and you need to leave at the point in time so that it wouldn't happen? Or what if there's someone waiting at the next stop that you need to come in contact with and you had to be there at the right place at the right time? So yes, what the Lord has for you is for you. But don't allow it or you to take a journey that it doesn't need to take. Do not miss your hour of visitation. There are people nowadays who are talking about they're having dreams about the rapture and being left behind. In a sense, missing the hour of visitation. Whatever it is, personal, professional, whether it's heavenly or earthly, do not miss your hour of visitation. Yes, what the Lord has for you is for you. But don't allow that thing or you to be bouncing around. Do not miss your hour of visitation. So if you're like that man, blind, or so it seems, and you hear that Jesus is coming, do not miss your hour of visitation. If people are telling you, be quiet, call out Jesus, Jesus, do not miss your hour of visitation. Do not miss your hour of visitation. By the way, Rachel eventually married Jacob. But because the marriage didn't happen at the time that it could have, it caused many problems for years. It caused many problems. So an inheritance claimed too soon will not be blessed in the end thereof. But do not miss your hour of visitation. What the Lord has for you is for you, but do not miss your hour of visitation. Have I said enough yet? I'll say it one more time. Do not miss your hour of visitation. Jesus is Lord. By the way, if you can hear a strange little noise, it's actually a squirrel off to my right, making some strange noises. But it didn't distract me. Do not let anything distract you. Keep your eyes focused on the Lord. He is your great reward. The Lord is your great reward. So again, do not miss your hour of visitation. And Jesus is Lord.